make sure she can hear it and everything. Okay, we're live.
Okay, it is Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. Mills County Supervisor meeting. We will call the meeting to order at 8:16. The Board of Supervisors meeting will be closed to in-person visitors due to the proclamation that does not allow the gathering of more than 10 individuals at one time. Audio will be live streamed on the Mills County YouTube channel at the following website address: https://yjp-svh4bc. Public comment will be allowed at the allotted time. Those wishing to address the board must provide their name and where they're from in the meeting chat box at the time of public comment. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda and minutes.
I second it.
We have a motion by Crouch, second by Vinton. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On this consent agenda, we will also do the accounts payable and liquor license renewals. Do we have a liquor license renewal?
Yes, we actually have two. We have the Beer Barn doing their annual renewal, and they have provided all the information and everything that we need for that permit.
Want to do them separately, or are we going to do them?
I'll identify them separately. The second one is the sexually oriented business license for Romantics, which they pay us $250 for their annual licensing fee. We have received that. Now we need to acknowledge it and send them their receipt.
Do we have a motion to approve the accounts payable and the liquor license?
Well, do we want to go over any of the accounts payable, or is everyone all right with them?
I think I'm good with them. I looked at them earlier. I have no more other questions.
They're fine with me.
I'll make a motion to approve accounts payable and the two liquor license of the Beer Barn and the sexually oriented business.
And I second it.
We have a motion by Crouch, second by Vinton. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Now is the time for visitor recognition. Is there any comments for non-related agenda items at this time? All of the visitor comments will be allowed at the time of the agenda item. Give it a minute here.
Okay, no comments.
Okay. No comments were posted, so we will move on to supervisor updates. Mr. Crouch?
Well, all I can tell you is that all the meetings and stuff I had last week were either done by phone or visual contact. Until this coronavirus goes away, that's the way we're going to proceed with all of them. Some we have canceled completely for up to 60 days. If it turns around, things change, it will only be 30 days, but most of my meeting people said 60 days, and we'll go from there.
I can agree with that, second that. All of the meetings that I've had were done over the computer and chat conferences. We did have one possible exposure at our juvenile detention center, so we've been working with Pot County Public Health, Pot County Attorney, and Pot County's emergency management on that. So far so good, no positives, but we have to assume the worst. So we'll keep moving forward and work together through this. Mr. Vinton, or Ms. Vinton?
For the WIC program, anybody that needs assistance, they do need to call for an appointment, but they will help you. And I will post that number on the screen. I'll get it to Carol, our auditor. Very important. I want everybody to know that they will be open. They will help. Also, if they need to bring supplies from Harlan, they can do that. That is where their headquarters are at. And I'm with the other two supervisors. MAPPA is all doing home. But if there's any questions whatsoever, it's always call for an appointment and help can be assisted.
Okay.
I'd like to make a comment. One of the meetings I sat in on was with emergency management and public health, and we have some problems in Mills County with daycare. So if you know of anybody or can help us out, get in touch with Julie Lyons at Public Health. It's kind of critical, especially the On With Life is having trouble getting their workers there because they can't find daycare to take care of the children. So
Our next agenda item is set for 8:30 with the Mills County Engineer. It looks like we have a few minutes to spare, so the county auditor has volunteered to sing to you during this quiet time.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to the restroom. I'm going to hear this. Better not make it.
Life's too short.
It is. It is. This is a whole new thing for us. I was just wondering if you all received a copy from the declaration that the governor sent with regards to essential personnel and whom she feels they are, and it pretty much said us, the elected officials. She's depending on us to carry forward and help the public in any and every way we can without causing harm to ourselves.
Who sent that?
Governor.
Governor
Governor.
came from the governor, and then also we were then another piece of that came from, I think I photocopied for all of you guys.
Sorry.
From a memorandum of identification of essential critical infrastructure workers during the COVID-19 response. So there's some good reading, and the governor keeps, changing her proclamations daily, so. The number of individuals allowed in a polling place pursuant to the code shall be temporarily reduced to one per political party. So we used to have have a gender balance and have several. So we're getting that lightened up, and there's some more other things that are coming down from that regarding acceptable forms of identification. So we continue to get updated on that, and I will keep you guys updated on what I receive.
Thank you. It's a learning process, so we're all getting through it together. It changes daily, so
I'm hoping that the payment options in our hall vestibule have helped the public. I want them to definitely have, if they have questions, if the public has any questions whatsoever, please call. Our numbers are on the door, on our county website. Please call, and if we can help you, we certainly want to.
can bring that up.
Good morning.
Morning,
Morning.
Corey.
My time?
Yes, it is.
Alright. On my way here, I heard we do have someone listening. So I talking to one of our driveway variants.
Oh, good.
They are listening. Alan Lincoln. So.
Great.
But for my items, no utility permits to report.
Source.
Yeah, we need to bring up beacon for this driveway. We got a couple driveway variances.
What do we do for the source, Patrick?
It's gonna be
Internet.
It should be a
Yeah.
should be a TV one.
Oh, when we had our insurance or the equipment, he changed that. That's probably why it's goofy.
Oh, TV on that.
Maybe it's not hooked in right.
Yep, yeah.
There we go.
But the first driveway variance is at 23004 Quigg Avenue.
Okay.
Once we bring up Beacon, can't actually search that address quite yet on Beacon. But it's in between. What is that? Just have to bring it up.
Just refresh it. It should.
Bear with us here. We're hooking up the
First time's
TV
always,
to our.
first time's always gonna have those issues, right?
Booting up the beacon right now. A
Yeah,
little
whose
slow.
name is this under?
There you go. Thank you.
Who's wanting the variance?
Steve Jacobson. Steve and Denise Jacobson.
Corey, what was your address again?
23004 Quigg Avenue.
And it's not gonna pop up yet. So if you want to go to, or let me drive and I can find it real quick.
It's down by the Wabansie area.
Glad I'm not riding with you. You're a pretty fast driver.
Wild, hang on.
Yeah, I'm trying. Getting dizzy.
Right here. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Jacobson's recently purchased some land from Relevant in here. Their existing driveway is right here. It's about 20 foot wide. Has a culvert in it. Good sight distance. We denied it because they're requesting a driveway wider than 24 foot
Okay.
access. They want to bring in a modular home, and to get it onto the property, they need the driveway wider to get the truck in. And so Hughes actually talked to them about doing a temporary driveway, and they're acceptable to that. So this is just for a driveway wider than our variance or our ordinance allows, and it's only going to be temporary. So they have a approved contractor, or who's on our approved contractors list. Pretty straightforward. We'll go out and check it after they remove the temporary driveway. Just make sure that the culvert's still good and
Okay.
everything else is up to snuff. So pretty straightforward.
Easy enough. Anybody have any questions for the engineer?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to, you want a motion on
Sure.
on it to
Sure.
approve it? Okay, so moved.
And I'm abstaining my vote.
I will second that. We have a motion by Kraut, second by Mayberry to approve the temporary widening of a driveway at 23004 Quigg Avenue. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion carried.
Right there below, right on the tab. Second driveway variance applications from Alan Lincoln. This is on Levi Road.
Do a search, can you find it?
I can find it. Close on this one. There is a current existing driveway to this property.
Oh, is that where
There it
the
is.
Hughes' subdivision?
No, it's still Johnson property. Keith Johnson, Glenn Johnson.
Oh, Glenn's.
Mhm.
Loading.
Oh, that's where.
Yep.
We need to
Like
talk to our
building
IT
and
guys, see if we can do a quick computer in here one of these days.
Can't afford it unless we get some coronavirus money.
So the current location of this driveway in a bad spot.
It is.
You have about 350 feet of site distance to the north, good site distance to the south.
Okay.
There's the existing driveway.
He's going up to higher ground.
So, he came to the office, talked to our driveway foreman, and the safest spot for a driveway would be down here at the end of the south end of the property.
Okay.
There is a probably 20 foot drop from the road top down to existing ground. So high construction costs, but it is the safest spot. It has good sight distance either direction.
Okay.
They're asking for a variance to put a driveway about 100 feet south of the driveway across the road. So just go 100 feet.
And who's that across there?
Glenn Johnson's.
Oh, that's.
So this is where they're proposed to have a driveway.
Lincoln.
I'll just read off their reasoning for the hardship.
Sure.
Reason for hardship requests as set forth in Chapter 4, Entrance and Driveway Ordinance. I would like to move the existing driveway to the farm south to be approximately 100 feet south of the driveway at 60565 Levi Road. The county-approved driveway location is down at the bottom of the hill, where there is a tremendous grade separation between the ground and the road. Installing a driveway in that location would be nearly impossible, requiring a large amount of fill to complete. As well, the county-approved location would be difficult to use with large farm machinery, semis. It's a sharp grade to reach the farm. I am seeking to improve the driveway location while working with existing grades to remain practical for ag use. I also was talking to Alan on the phone, and he said that we can call him if we do have questions. So
Sure.
if you guys have questions,
Sure.
you want to go ahead and give him a ring?
I don't have any.
So 100 feet from his driveway is
From
where
this
he
driveway.
was.
Yep, so this is where he was.
Now, would that include that? That would still
So-
improve the sight distances there.
He would gain about 180 feet or so,
Sight
a sight distance to the north.
South he's all right though. On side
South
distance, yeah.
would be good.
Okay.
So he'd have about 430 feet a sight distance to the north, when we require 610 feet.
Okay.
It is one of the most dangerous curves in the county.
It
I'd
is.
say.
It
It
is.
is.
Anything we can move and improve it would be great. for
I have
everybody.
talked. I went out and looked at it again this morning, trying to come up with other compromises or suggestions. And if we moved it to the north end of the property, he would have more sight distance to the north, but he'd lose a little bit of sight to the south. So it'd be kind of
And he'd be right
6
on that curve.
one way, half a dozen the
Right.
other.
Did you say 610 is what's in our ordinance?
Mhm. For a 55 mile an hour?
Okay.
And that's,
And
that- yeah.
they do, so he did request for ag use,
Sure.
but they do have future plans, not in the near future, but some future plans to put a house in this location. So this isn't going to be strictly ag use. It might be, he didn't say a timeline, but it could be 5, 10,
Sure.
20 years, who knows. But
Any improvement is a plus, that's for sure. Get him off that curve.
I would agree.
I
It would help.
agree.
It would
You
help
don't
to
want
move
that
them.
on that curve,
But-
especially if he pulls out a trailer.
The existing drive would be removed though, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Hugh did estimate that would probably cost, he thought just on fill material alone, about $10,000
Ooh.
to put in
For
the
that
driveway,
one.
and it would be very steep.
Yeah, you couldn't, well, getting out with a tractor and stuff, they'd tear our
That's
roads
the
up.
whole, well, and
you know.
with the grain too, would
Yeah.
be, it'd be ornery.
He could even move it down, because that's owned by the same people. He could move it down here, and then he would need a culvert to cross
Across the ditch.
this ditch. So it is definitely a tougher situation. I think since he does have an existing driveway, if you guys denied the variance, they could just keep using the existing driveway, and it's less safe than the proposed
Right.
location.
Right.
So
Right.
But traveling that road 3-4 times a day, when there's farmers and truckers coming out of there, that's really dangerous, right where it's at.
it is.
Very dangerous. So I so agree, Corey. It needs to be down a ways.
If there wasn't a driveway on there, I would tell you guys to deny us and make
Exactly.
them pay
Exactly.
to put it in the safe location. But there's already an existing driveway, so if we were to require them to put it somewhere, we would have to foot the bill. So we are getting a little bit safer driveway, but
200
it's
feet's a lot.
But it's still not going to meet our requirements. But it is safer than what's safe there.
Right, right.
Okay. Any other discussion on that, guys?
Nope, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve or disapprove the driveway variance?
I make a motion to approve the driveway variance for
Second.
60565 Levi Road.
We have a motion by Benton, second by Crouch, to approve the driveway variance of 60565 Levi. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
And that's due to
Motion
sight
carried.
distance, right?
Yes, due to sight distance. You will get a hold of Mr. Lincoln?
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I don't know if you guys noticed, I think this is the most agenda items I've had.
I was wondering
In
where
my-
yours ended.
I-
Next
I
time,
noticed.
the
Just
next
take
page.
over the show.
I did notice that when I was typing the agenda. Thank you.
Oh, well, when you're important,
If you'd
you're
have let us know
important.
ahead of time, Corey, we'd have put the camera up for you.
Right, right.
He
right.
figured there was a camera, yeah.
We go live
loaded
and then
it up.
the engineer wants all the attention, so.
We can just say that
We'll just give it to
because,
him.
close the office, I'm actually getting stuff done now, huh? Oh no, it's just working out that way.
So what do you have for Stay-Built Construction,
So
Mr.
this
Engineer?
is for the seal coating project. We're going to utilize that flood recovery fund for a high majority of the work. We opened up the proposals last week, and you guys decided to award the contract or the project to Stay Built. This is now just putting the contract to it, so we can go ahead and get the schedule with Stay Built. Something the DOT doesn't allow is talking to contractors for scheduling purposes or anything about the project until you have a signed contract. This isn't a DOT project, but just kind of following
Sure.
that same kind of
Sure.
rules. So it's pretty straightforward. So when there was an oversight on my part when we opened the bid from Stay Built. they did not put in the correct quantities on some of their bids, which we do have a specification for if that does happen,
Sure.
to go ahead and follow the unit prices.
Mhm.
I called them up just to confirm, hey, you missed out on the quantities on some of these items. Are you okay using the same unit price? And they said yes. So
Good.
it is a different amount than what we said yesterday or last week. It is a higher amount, but
It
like
is
it's-
what it is.
Do you have?
The roads need fixed.
yeah, and we are getting flood recovery fund money.
Right.
The total is $380,000, or $380,977.85.
Okay. And what did we have last week? Do you remember? Roughly?
320,000
Okay.
change.
Just for.
And this is our
just for me.
flood, some of our flood money.
Yes.
Good.
So we'll do the.
Okay.
This will
327,100 was last.
330, so it was about
Yeah.
50 grand.
we'll do M16 that was tore up, L68 that was tore up, and Kesterson that were all torn up because of flood damages, and then we're adding Elrod Overseal and some other some of our
General
subdivisions that are seal coated.
Good.
23.26 miles in total.
It's definitely needed.
Yep.
Good for you.
And talk just in our past discussions with Stable, I know that we'll be near the top of their list, so they'll be done
Sure.
hopefully earlier than later
Good.
this season. So.
Good, good, good.
I'll make a motion that we accept the contract bid from Stay Built for seal coating.
And I second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with State Belt for the county road seal coating. 23.26 miles. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Alright. Mark it down. There on the bottom right. And I think you guys saw my email to Terry Brown with Iowa Homeland Security, forwarding him our documents. And,
Yes.
he didn't say anything back about them,
Good,
so I assume they're adequate.
You're okay.
good.
Good job.
Next order of business is pay application 5 for Genesis Construction for the new county shop building.
Yes, a lot of progress can be made. So this is why a higher pay app is on this one. The amount is $392,462.99.
Okay.
Things have been going well. Good weather has allowed them to really move forward, especially upward.
Right.
Geothermal well is going to be started soon. Last progress meeting was last Thursday, and I mentioned again we still want to have the mechanical engineers who designed it on site for some of the first construction of it, make sure that things are going smooth.
Good.
We have our equipment purchased through owner lined up and on schedule, so that shouldn't slow us down. Looking at a completion in the fall, October, November area.
Good. Still on schedule then?
Yep.
Good deal.
If not ahead of schedule, probably.
If anything, we'd probably be ahead of schedule. I don't think they want me to tell you that,
Right.
just so they
Right.
see, but yeah.
There's always hiccups. Okay, guys, what do you think?
Okay, I'll make a motion to pay Genesis contractors for the construction of the shop.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pay Genesis Contractors, pay app number 5 for $392,462.99. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
There is no signing blocks.
Okay.
My last action item is approval of salaries for fiscal year 21. I don't know why I put 2021.
Because it is.
It is. Yeah.
Because it starts in July.
Right.
That's why. See? Yeah,
That's why I
makes
put
sense,
that.
right?
Exactly.
You were correct.
This reflects the 3% increase to wages that have the board approved that, right?
They will be approving it on the, I mean, it's tentatively in the first hearing that we had, and it will go into the second hearing and be approved next week.
I do have printouts for you guys showing those wages and salary. I first time I put it out, I forgot to actually put one of my technician's name on
We
it.
did
But yeah, everything just reflects the 3% increase. That's the same as the union.
And you got this
Contract.
to Jolene, who needs it for the report. Okay,
Yes, I
great.
did. So,
Okay. Anybody have any questions on those guys?
Mitchell, is that one that we hired from up north?
Jason,
Yeah.
he lives in Annick,
Yeah.
Griswold area,
okay.
yeah.
Or Lewis.
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 Yes.
Yep. Still making the commute back and forth. He's, without getting too personal, he's had some changes in his personal life, and so it was a little worrisome that he might not be around, just because of he's got his two kids, two young kids, and so it's been nice to know that he's still gonna stay with the
Good.
county, even though he's having a little more responsibility with his kids at a
Well, they make it tough.
higher rate.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Good.
I have to tell you, on Wednesday morning, the first day that we had closed the courthouse down to the public, the treasurer came over and told me there was some guy wandering around the courthouse and didn't know who he was. So I was like, oh, well, let me see. So he comes down the stairs. I said, sir, can I help you? And he goes, yes, I am from the engineer's office. It was like, he had his hat on and a stocking hat, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. He goes, no, that's fine.
Well, we don't see him every day.
No.
I've been
Poor guy.
I put him on the task of finding one of the hardest things to find right now, disinfectant spray or wipes
Sure.
for our equipment and for our office. And so he was, that day
Well, it
he
was
was all
funny.
over Omaha, Council Bluffs. You're talking to Mike, custodial, and just trying to find
Something.
whatever we can to disinfect our equipment in our office. And so
Did he find some?
he found some. We're still looking.
Oh, yeah.
I think Michael's got an order in for some
Mhm.
stuff for you guys too.
So, yeah, we're just.
Now, whether it comes or not, right? Yeah.
It's supposed to be a
Okay.
Friday. We still haven't gotten
Yeah.
it. So
Okay.
I actually sent outside again to go to just
Somewhere.
department stores and everything, trying to find anything you can.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know, because sometimes I'll find a hot spot, so I'll pick up some.
He did find some of those disinfectant wipes, and but they had a limited. You can only buy 4 at a time. So,
Sure.
Kind of hard with all the guys and the
Yeah.
equipment, right?
and that's been my hardest thing,
Real quick.
implementing our department plan for COVID-19 has been finding the disinfectants.
Right.
Sure.
Frustrating.
It is.
Okay, guys,
Okay.
what do you think?
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the engineer and the admin staff.
Second.
We have a motion by Vinton, second by Crouch to approve the salaries for FY 2021 engineering and administrative staff. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. How about general discussion? Corey?
Yeah, so I set up a call-in for Ames Construction regarding the conveyor belt, their earth moving project in Barrow. We're getting a little bit closer, so we can fill in some time before 9 a.m. I told them to call in at 9 a.m. So
Okay.
general discussion. So we had a notice or report. Well, it wasn't really reported to us, but through social media we saw that there was apparently some biohazard material discarded in county right of way on 192nd Street late Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon. Monday, yesterday, talked with emergency management, trying to figure out what do we need to do to dispose of this correctly, safely. He had already been in communication with the fire department, Oak Township Fire Department and Glenwood Fire Department, and they were on top of it.
Good.
To be honest, I haven't. We talked in the morning Monday, and then yesterday afternoon I drove out there to kind of see how things looked for myself, and it was already all collected and disposed of. I wasn't able to get a hold of EMA in the afternoon to find out where they actually disposed of it or how.
Now, will they do any investigating to see where they came from?
They're
They've
they're
already-
working on
Yeah,
that right
okay.
now.
They've
Good.
found out that the
Good.
biggest share of it came from a dialysis company. You know,
Really?
they do blood draws and things and stuff. But they had numbers and stuff they could track.
Mm-hmm.
And the county attorney has got all that information.
Good.
So I think they can even, from the way it sounded, they could even find out who picked it up and who throws it there.
Good.
Because
Good.
they was supposed to go to an incinerator
Yes.
with the product.
They should not end up in our county road
No.
ditches, so.
No, that should not.
Oh,
I mean, if kids got into that,
Oh,
I
my
mean, there
gosh,
was
Richard.
needles and everything else, and wasn't a good deal.
and I'm sure there was.
But what was kind of irritating was the first person that turned it in happened to be a law enforcement officer with the Pot County Sheriff's Department. And he goes and puts it on
Facebook.
Facebook or something, and his first call should have been
Please enter
to
your access code
Right.
followed by the
Authorities.
pound.
I think Pot County maintains that road, don't they?
Yes, so that was. I haven't talked to
Please enter your
the
audio.
Pot County engineer
The
or the sheriff
organizer
yet,
has
but
not yet started
I'm
the
gonna.
meeting. You will be placed
I haven't
on
decided
hold
if I'm
until an
gonna
organizer
call 'em.
starts.
But let them know that according to our 2080 agreement, maintenance, which includes blading, adding rock, ditch cleaning, is Pot County's for that stretch of road because we maintain 189th Street north of Bungie into Pot County. We then allow Pot County to maintain 192nd Street from Bungie to the county line.
Sure.
Applewood Avenue is split about 50-50. We have the east side and they have the west side.
Okay.
And so I mean, we took care of it, which
Right.
I mean, it's good to be responsive and go out and take care
Again,
of
good old
something.
Mills County, right? Wow.
But I do want to bring it to their attention just
Absolutely.
to make sure they know that
It was
we did
their
this all.
duty. Yeah. Wow.
Other general discussion. Nice thing about being close to the public in the office, I don't have as many salesmen coming in. But I did receive a mailing letter, and when I get these equipment mailings, a lot of times I kind of look at it and decide whether it's something we might use or not. And if I think we might use it, I then pass it along to our foreman
Sure.
and let them decide, would you use this or not? One piece of interesting equipment that came in is a culvert cleaner that attaches to excavators or tractor backhoes, and gosh, it looks really neat. But it also looks like it'd be very efficient and effective. basically attaches to the bucket. You kind of see here, and it can push or pull material then that's clogging a culvert. I want you guys kind of pass it around.
Oh, this would make our person in PJ happy.
It really, I mean, we've had beaver traps in some of our really large culverts that are like 72 inches, and those beaver dams are big, and
That's very cool.
what we actually did in the past is we went out and bought a small boat anchor, and
Throw that
someone
over
put on the
and
hip
drag it
waders,
back.
throw it over the top, and then they pull it out and just do whatever you can to kind of clean it out. This would make it much easier, and it'd even work on those 24 and 36-inch smaller culverts,
I've got an ass on it already.
where if we can't clean those very easily at all, and we usually just pull it out and put in a new one.
Yep.
And I don't have a price on that, but I'm going to look at it. One of my foremen did look online and thought it was somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. And if
One
we
driveway, that'll save you.
cleaned out one culvert that we would have to replace normally, it'd pay for itself at
Mhm.
one or two culverts. So
Mhm.
I think that's just, I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention before we start looking at it a little more closely. But even if we only use it a couple times a year, it'd be
Sure.
well worth it.
Good.
But that was about all I had for general discussion. Now we'll just kind of wait. We got 2 minutes till 9 a.m. before Ames
So is it
expected to call it.
Battle Armor is who you received that from? Is that what their name is?
Yeah.
Battle Armor?
Yeah, I haven't heard of them before.
Okay.
Just sing another song, Carol.
No, I think you should sing. Maybe a little karaoke, maybe.
We're waiting on a 9 o'clock call, ladies and gentlemen, that are listening, so bear with us for a few minutes here.
I guess I could give you an update. So we do have a farm to market rock project still on the books for this year. I had a discussion with the Schilberg Quarry. Schilberg's a contractor for the project. This goes back to last year when we let the project and we had the flooding event and no material basically. So now this is we just put it on hold for a year. They agreed to honor the same cost that project. And,
Good.
I think you got somebody there maybe.
but yeah, it sounds like someone's called in. Kurt with Ames, is that you?
You with us,
This
Kurt?
is Adam with Ames.
Adam.
Okay.
And Ben Lovin with Ames.
Adam and Ben.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. And I believe Kurt is going to be calling in also momentarily.
Okay. We'll go ahead and give him another minute or two.
Sure.
Before we do introductions for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
We are live streaming this Board of Supervisors meeting, so you could listen to yourselves on YouTube if you wanted to.
Get some feedback going.
Kurt's on.
Hi, Kurt.
Hey, Kurt.
Thank you.
Gentlemen,
Thank you for calling in. I think we'll just kind of do some introductions first, so you guys know who's all here. I'm Corey Gaston, Mills County Engineer. We have our 3 board supervisors.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm Carol Vinton, Board of Supervisor.
Lonnie Mayberry, Mills County Supervisor.
Richard Crouch, Mills County Supervisor.
Carol Robertson, Mills County Auditor.
Darren Walcott, Mills County Building and Zoning Official.
And if you guys don't mind introducing yourselves one time again.
Sure, you got
I'm Kurt
Ben Lovin.
Rudolph with Ames.
What was his last name?
Rudolph.
Rudolph? Okay.
Ames. Okay.
And then
Construction.
Ben and Adam, could you introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Adam Lightshoe, Ames Construction.
And Ben Lovin with Ames Construction.
Thanks, guys. I've been talking with Kurt a little bit in the last week or so about their planned. Well, they won a contract with Mid-American to do a lot of earthwork for them, and they have an approved borrows conditional use permit through building and building and zoning, and they've approached us about, instead of trucking all of that material about 2.5 miles north from a borrow location south of Bungie Avenue and 185th Street, setting up a conveyor belt that would be 5 miles in total length and would cross Bungie Avenue, go over top, and also cross Applewood Avenue, and then at Sire go west, or east, east to 189th Street and continue along 189th Street up to Mid-American location.
At Sire go, I'm sorry, at Sire go where? East?
East.
Through Sire?
No, so it would stay south of Sire
Okay.
and then be on the east side of Sire.
Okay.
That would,
So it would go up the county road ditch then?
yes, in that in Pot County.
Could go above the right of way.
So that, Corey, that plan has changed a little bit.
Okay.
So it generally stays the same, just as you described, coming across to Applewood, and then the conveyor alignment would run up the west side of Sire. So it would run on the Mid-American property and the City of Council Bluffs property on the west side of Sire. Then at the northwest corner of the Sire property, there would be an overhead conveyor crossing that would cross over Sire's railroad tracks. Then the conveyor would run on the north side of Mid-American's private concrete road, and then would continue on Mid-American property. So that plan's been changed. It will not run up the east side of Sire, and it won't be in the county road ditch.
Okay.
Straighter the better.
And just some of the questions. You guys, what would the duration of be for hauling material?
So, Kurt, I can answer these and then chime in if you want to add something. So the duration would be, we would start erecting the system here just as soon as we get all the permits in place. We would look to start operating the conveyor, we'll say in July of this year, and then it would operate through, we'll say, into the fall of 2022. So a little more than 2 calendar years is how long it would be in operation.
Okay.
Operationally, it would run, likely run 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, and then during the winter there may be periods of time during the months of January and December January and February when we shut down because of the winter shutdown.
And how much the quantity of material is the contract for? How much do you expect?
So the quantity that we're considering conveying is roughly 5.3 million yards. So it's around 350,000 truckloads that we could potentially put on the conveyor rather than run trucks up and down the road.
Okay.
So, if I'm correct, you'd still haul some on trucks, though, right?
Yep, you're correct. You're right, Corey. There would still be some quantity that would get trucked. There'd be some material that we would start trucking in April as we're installing the conveyor system, and then throughout the life of the project, there's other materials coming from the borrow site that, just because of where they have to go in the project, it's not conducive to conveying it. So those materials will get trucked too. So there'll be, roughly 1.5 million yards or so that would get trucked, and then roughly 5.3 million that would get conveyed.
Okay. Is this Ben or is this Adam? Is it Adam?
Say that again?
Are you Ben or Adam?
This is Ben.
Ben.
Here's Ben speaking.
This is Carol. So I'm writing all this down of how much you're taking out and that sort of thing. How big of a lot, how big are we talking about here?
For the borrow or
It's
for the-
40 acres, 10
It's a
acres?
borrow end or the bill end?
The borrow end.
Probably the borrow end.
I should have brought that.
Yeah, so at the borrow end, we've got a conditional use permit and grading permit through the county approved for that site, and that total site is roughly, I'm going to say, right around or maybe just short of 120 acres.
It's that 40, that 40,
So it's John,
that 4. It's
Bernie, not John.
it's
Bernie.
and it's also J.R. Goodman.
And J.R. Goodman.
Yeah, so they had 3 different landowners. They're getting it from Bernard, John, Poor, and J.R. Goodman.
Okay. So when you extract all this, are we putting anything back in? Or it's just going to be a huge pond? Or what's our idea for afterwards?
It'll be a ponded area, so we won't put anything back in. It'll get graded, so it'll have graded slopes around it, and then it'll become a ponded area.
Okay.
Have you chosen a contractor for the conveyor belt construction?
We would self-perform that. We do that work ourselves.
Okay. And where have you guys put in a conveyor belt before?
So we just completed conveying roughly 25 million tons of material for a quarry and a landfill reclamation in Azusa, California. So just on the north side of LA. So we were in through 3 different municipalities. That conveyor system was approximately 4 miles long, ran 24 hours a day. So we would be taking that system and those folks, and that's the system that would be getting brought to this project.
And then with that material, you're going to camp at the Mid-America, the hillside, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that material is getting used for the CCR impoundment closure.
That's what you call it. Is it a type of clay dirt that you're going to be extracting?
It's sand.
Oh, it's sand.
Yep.
Wow.
In previous talks, we talked about enclosing the conveyor belt with fencing on either side. Is that still a plan?
Yes, that is something that we would do. We would put fencing up on both sides of the conveyor, and then we also utilize wireless camera and security systems so that we can monitor the length of the conveyor both remotely, and then during operation we have 4 crews that constantly patrol it, both for security reasons and then also from a maintenance perspective.
Is this covered, Ben? Does it have a type of cover on it?
It's covered in certain locations. So our experience in the past has been we've always covered them at the road crossing locations,
Right, that's
and
what I was
at the overhead rail crossing location near Sire. When we're not in a overhead crossing situation, the belt is generally not covered. So we'll use spray bars and water the material to keep it from blowing off the belt and creating any dust issues.
Okay. Because you're close enough to the interstate, I'm sure a 40-mile-an-hour wind, you'll get a little sand blasting. That's the reason I was asking if it was covered.
Yeah, so generally for the bulk of for most of the duration, we are, I'm gonna say, let me do some measuring here. So for most of the alignment, we're half mile away from the interstate, half mile west of the interstate. The only place where we would be any closer than that to the interstate would be once we get to the project and we're actually on the project where the material is gonna get placed.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I have sent them our preliminary alignment for our proposed roadway. New roadway there for the truck access to Sire and Mid-Am. So we are going to work together to make sure that we don't allow a conveyor belt structure where we have a proposed roadway.
Yeah, so that's certainly one of the things that we wanted to discuss on this call while we had everybody together was, like Corey said, we understand that Mills County and in, I believe, in partnership with Pottawatomie County has plans to construct a new road between County Road H10 and then running north up to Applewood, and then I believe there's also some improvements for Applewood planned. As a alternate truck access into that industrial area in Sire and things like that. So Corey did send us the preliminary layout drawings for that. We're taking a look at that and trying to make sure that our proposed conveyor alignment fits with what the counties have going. I mean, we certainly don't want to put anything in a spot where it's going to have to get moved or be in conflict with what the county's trying to do.
Right.
So I guess what we're looking at right now, or what we've considered thus far, is looking at the plans. It looks like the county's planning on a roughly 80-foot easement. Looks like it's generally going to be centered up on the property line between those two fields running to the north of County Road H10. We know that New Star's pipeline is on the east side of that alignment, and we've been working with the New Star folks. So we know what we can and can't do around their pipeline. Generally, they want us to keep our conveyor structure at least 25 feet off of the center line of their pipe. So that really leaves us two options: either in that portion between County Road H10 and Applewood, we either need to run to the west of the new county road alignment, or we need to run to the east of the new county road alignment. And that's something that we're trying to figure out which solution fits best right now. So in either case, as the conveyor gets to Applewood, we had previously been considering an underground crossing at Applewood. So basically installing a little piece of box culvert and then bumping Applewood temporarily up over that box culvert so we could run the conveyor system through it. But if the county has plans to improve Applewood and pave it, that probably doesn't work very well with that plan. So then I think we would go back to looking at an overhead crossing at Applewood once again with the overhead conveyor bridge structure.
If you were on the west side of that intersection, there on Applewood, be open to looking at the culvert. But yeah,
Sure.
if it's on the east side of that intersection, we wouldn't want that.
Yeah, because all your work goes off to the east, right?
Correct.
On Applewood.
Correct. That is right.
Okay. So those are some of the details we're still trying to iron out. We've got some calls set up for later today and tomorrow as we get our TMZ files built with all of these different things in it to narrow down which conveyor alignment is the best conveyor alignment. In general, at these crossings, as far as erecting temporary towers to support the bridge crossings, I guess my question for you, Corey, and for the supervisors is there, I guess, do we need to keep our tower legs outside of the right of way, or do we just need to keep them out of the clear zone based on the posted speed of the roadway, or is that something you would have to think about a little bit? And the reason I ask is because it'll certainly drive the overhead bridge span, and as we're talking with the manufacturers about getting these
Are the links?
conveyor spans built,
I imagine.
that'll be a big piece of it.
I would want it outside the clear zone, for sure. I don't think it'd be a problem if it's inside the right of way, as long as we're outside the clear zone.
Okay.
You guys would plan to take it down afterwards, correct?
Yeah, we certainly would.
No, as long as it's outside the clear zone, it could be inside the right of way.
Okay. When is the county looking at constructing that project? Is that 2020, 2021 work, or will it be 2020 work, or is it down the road further?
At the earliest would be 2021. We are basically waiting to hear from some grants. We currently have an application in for a RISE grant through the state of Iowa, and we're hoping to split the funding pretty much 50-50 with RISE grant and then EDA, Economic Development Flood grant as well, that we're going to turn in an application once we hear the results of the RISE grant. And so we're hoping to know in a couple months how much money we have available to us and kind of go from there.
Okay.
I think one of our deputy county attorneys is also on the phone. Tyler, what were you thinking we might need for the county to hold the county harmless of any liability?
Well, I mean, I guess since it sounds like they've done several of these projects like this, or at least one they talked about, maybe we can just get a copy of the standard type of agreement that they've used in the past. Otherwise, I'm just going to build something that, you know, protects the county from any liability from anything that goes wrong with this over our roads. And then,
Right.
you know, I guess we'll build in whatever type of fee structure you guys work out to.
Yeah, so my understanding, Corey, is that from an agreement or a permitting standpoint, I understand that, and I guess I'm asking as much as I'm saying. So do we get a building permit for each different property or each different property owner that the conveyor crosses? And then do we also then need a building permit for where we cross the county roads and a utility permit where we cross the county roads, or is it just the utility permit for crossing, you know, similar to what the power company would have, or how, from a permitting standpoint, just to make sure we're getting all this stuff started the right way and getting documents together, what exactly do we need?
This is Darren, county building zone official. I think I talked to Kurt last week, I'm not sure, but we talked about all the private properties would require a building permit.
For them bringing it in.
It'd be for
So,
temporary
that's what I wanna
construction,
go
but
to.
it would just be for each property, private property. When it comes to the easements and crossing the road, that'd probably be through Corey through utility permit of some sort.
Yeah.
So, and for each roadway crossing, we need a utility permit,
Basically paid for the road.
and that kind of doubles as our work inside a right-of-way permit.
Okay.
And then there's still the surcharge fee that would still associated with the borrow moving material.
Yep.
Yeah, the surcharge fee, and Tyler, the county attorney, working with them, and obviously working with building and zoning for their permits. If you've got all that taken care of, that's I'm good with that.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. It sounds phenomenal, really. I mean, that you're going to be able to move this amount of dirt in that amount of time, but when you run 24/7, I guess that makes up a big difference.
Have you ever constructed this long of a conveyor belt system? I mean, you said LA was 4 miles. This is, what does this all consist? Is it 6?
5.3.
1.3.
Yeah. Once you get into all the way from the far end of the borrow pit into the far end of the job, it's about 5.3 miles. So it's comparable to what we just finished up in Azusa and West Covina.
It's just.
And then in our aggregate operations, so we run sand and gravel operations around the country, and then we also have portable aggregate production plants that we move around the country, and we're constantly setting up and taking down and moving overland conveyors with those operations where we'll convey 1, 2, 3, 4 miles at a time in a sand and gravel or crushed stone setting.
That is just so mind-boggling. That's for sure, you guys.
Yeah, we want to go see it. You're gonna give the 3 Mills County supervisors a tour of it when you get her up and running.
Well, we sure will. We'll give anybody a tour that wants to do it.
Right on it.
Yeah. We have one supervisor that might want to ride on it. Is that okay?
That part's probably not okay, but we'll set a GoPro on it and let that go down the line, and then you can watch the video. Kind of the same.
Right. No, thank you guys for working with us. Good to see at least some kind of movement going on, keeping some of the locals busy. So
There'll be a lot of people looking at you guys while you're building this. That's for sure from the interstate.
Yeah. There'll be there's a whole lot of earthwork that's about to get started there by the power plant. So it'll be stuff to see. So Kurt, before we wrap up, do you have any other questions for the county folks?
None at this time. I think Corey and I hatched out everything over the phone. But if something comes up, I'll definitely give the county a call.
yeah, just stay in touch with Corey and our zoning administrator Darren, and let us know if you got any questions.
Yeah. So what we'll do, Corey, the next steps are here in the coming days as we finalize what the conveyor alignment's going to be. As we get that finalized, we'll get that information over to you so you can see this as it develops. And then the next step will be as we start moving forward with the engineering and design of the overhead crossings and things like that, we'll start getting all of our engineering drawings put together for submittal with the permit application. So here real shortly you'll see the final alignment. Then it'll take us a little bit to get all of our drawings and stuff together before we get the permit submitted. So we'll keep talking, but there might go quiet for a couple of weeks there in the middle.
No problem. Yeah, we'll just stay in touch, and anytime you can give me updates, I'd be appreciative.
Yeah, sounds good. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, guys. Hopefully someday we get
Thank
to
you.
meet each other.
Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. See ya now.
You have their names somewhere. I couldn't quite get all that. Could you write them
Kurt,
on?
Adam, and Ben.
Yeah.
What
Here, do you want me to write it down?
Just write them back there.
What is it, Rudolph? Is that the
Yeah,
guy's
Rudolph.
last
That's
name?
Kurt.
Yep.
Kurt Rudolph
He's the one that sounds like he's from Minnesota.
from Minnesota.
Adam
Remote.
Light.
I did not get Adams, and I'm not.
It's like
One's
Lightfold.
Was it Light?
I did not get.
And then
And
his
Levine?
last name.
Ben
Play back
Levine.
the recording later.
Huh?
We can play back the recording later and see what he says.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was hard to
I
understand.
tried to find it though. It's not under Mills County.
It's under Mills County, Iowa. Lori's listening to
So
it.
they're going north of
God.
Mid-America with this dirt?
Yeah, it's a whole field out there.
That whole.
Doesn't look like it's very much
Yes.
north on the interstate, but it is.
So they're going
What they've already filled up with,
Some of it.
Potash?
No, the ash pile's behind them. South of them, actually.
It's where all the equipment's already sitting out there
They
north.
moved in structural fill for strategic areas.
Mhm.
Now they're putting all the sand between. I don't know what they're planning on.
Is this close to the solar farm that they're wanting to put up?
No, It's in front of the.
So once they go
existing
across
power plant.
Applewood, then they have to
Oh,
do all
so-
their work with Pot
29
County?
then.
Oh, in front.
They've been in talks with Rasmussen the whole time, so yeah, they're gonna have to work with Pot County too.
Well,
Just
I
so
was
you guys
gonna-
know, we've talked to Pot County, to Matt, and we've been talking the last 3 or 4 weeks on this, of being consistent in what we need to do. And he's asked me to, I'll just carry the inspections over there and perform it, so it's the same person doing it into Pot County too. But they're gonna permit it the same way we are. I don't know about the engineer, how they're doing it.
I've talked with John. We
Trying to be as consistent.
We
as
got the
can
same-
together.
required height crossing. I'll have to
Is
find
it
out.
gonna be a slope, or are they lifting it and lowering it?
It'll be a slope. So yeah,
It's
they'll
gonna come onto a private
they'll
property.
have to slope
right away.
off from
Yeah,
hundreds of feet away.
that's what I'm looking at, I didn't know if they'd do a lift, cause I've seen them do that before too.
That is just amazing.
We gotta watch them lift those conveyors at the rock quarry when they wanna raise them. They just hit a button and the hydraulic cylinder, I mean, it just goes up in the air and you're going, how many tons you got laying on this,
Wow.
you know?
And then to move that equipment like that?
Well, they just took off the end of
Trucking
it and
costs
take off
us
down the road.
millions.
Is that what they got, is they wanna do it underground under Applewood?
Yeah.
It's just cheaper for them to do that, they didn't offer to do that over Bungie though.
No. I think being the paved surface, we probably would have wanted to. But
I'd rather do a
Okay,
culvert
I would-
for 'em.
I'd be interested.
My,
in seeing what
my
they-
first theory comes up with, you know, as wet as it is around here and as low as that is, they gonna seal this up so water can't get in there?
What?
Oh, you mean the
If
pond?
they go under Applewood?
Oh, they'd have to pump it. The hole they
Yeah,
dig
it'd
will
be
be
standing
hundreds
water
of feet
probably.
deep, at least 100 feet deep there. Over 120 acres. I bet they're gonna be 75 at
No,
the
no,
minimum.
I'm talking, Lonnie, where they're gonna go under
Yeah,
Applewood.
yeah. Well, but they'll be pumping hard enough south.
And
Applewood
it
shouldn't
might
have
keep
any
it out
water.
there, yeah.
Will we be able to
Like-
vote on it then, after that, when it's?
Knowing
voted on?
Bernie, he'll donate it. So yeah, it'll probably end up. It'll probably end up Jared's before it's all said and done. He's a conservationist.
Lakeside housing right there.
Your own pond.
Well, I'm just debating about, just so you know, they might have to come from the Board of Adjustments again, because they only said 1.75 million dirt they're gonna haul out of there. Now I'm hearing almost 600, over 700,000.
Almost 7,000
$7 million.
yards.
So then
7
that's
million.
not-
Or
the
7
grading
million
plan-
yards.
The grading plan doesn't show
7 million.
did it?
I have to go back and look.
I'm gonna look too, we'll talk about it and see, but.
Okay, I'm just, you know, trying to phantom how deep they're gonna have to go.
Oh,
Where are they gonna pump the water to?
absolutely.
They're gonna hit water about 20 feet, 25 feet.
Oh, they'll have it before that.
You think?
Oh yeah.
They did have a
Yeah.
dewatering
Yeah.
plan, and it,
It's supposed to
Yeah,
run.
they
it's
were-
So where are you
supposed to
gonna
run
pump that
in there a-
water?
In there, a
it's-
creek or
it's
a.
pumping all the way to it's pumping to the levee.
Yeah,
You know, by next spring, it's gonna be full of water, and it'll take them 3 or 4 months just to pump it out.
Yeah, they do have a dewatering plan though. So.
Yeah.
you think 120
You think what,
acres,
10
7
feet they'll hit water?
7 million yards.
Five.
I know. I know.
Well, I
down,
know
yeah,
in some of the areas they will.
Yeah. Yeah. It would surprise me at 5.
Be a nice lake when it's done.
I mean, we hit water. We hit water digging the footings for the school building,
Maybe deeper. Definitely.
and that was after they cored it out, put in a special compacted fill, lifted it up, and then when they did the footings, the water had seeped up through that. So we thought we had a water leak at the high school. They were only 3 feet deep. That's over there. You're a lot closer to the river here.
Good
So
chunk of
it's
change.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. 5 feet, you're
I just haven't I know that plus the river, but I didn't, when I was talking to them before, they were thinking 15 or something, but I didn't think, I thought it'd be less than that.
when Bernie used to have a Sandpoint well for his little cabin just in the Pot County side, and I watched him drive the rod out from Sandpoint. 3 feet deep, he had water.
Oh, jeez.
We hit water when we did they tried to do this.
Well, good, that'll-
We did the A&M Green, or now the Agrivision building.
Yeah,
They had to keep pumping those up for
Mhm.
concrete.
That'll help your budget for the next couple of years.
yeah, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that topic's dead, but I bet they'll try to talk about it.
Oh, they will. They will.
I worry about this, when it breaks down, they're gonna still halt their.
Yeah. Yeah, before we sign anything, the first thing I want to make clear to them is
That's an
surcharge.
Yeah.
Let's work all that out first, then we'll give you some permits to cross the
Tyler wants to
lines.
get together, he'll let us know. And we'll-
They have in Minnesota. They have a gravel tax. One of the first times I talked to them about it, it was about the surcharge fee, and they said, "What is this, like our gravel?"
I do. I think we're. Well, I don't know. Does Corey have
Nope,
anything
I'm all
else? for
done.
general?
Thank you guys.
I do.
Thank you, Corey.
We've been out
Thank you, Corey.
without one for a while, and now I lost my paper that has it. Okay, so I am requesting to hire Jackie Embry.
Jackie?
Jackie. I interviewed several individuals. All had very good qualities, very good options, huh?
EMBR.
Hembry. But Jackie kind of stood out. She had some other qualities that we really needed, like she does supervisor minute, or she did minutes and agendas, and that sold me right there. But no, like I said, I had some really good candidates. But
Good.
Jackie, I think will be a good fit. I am requesting to hire her effective March 30th. She has passed all the required pre-employment physicals and drug screening, And her starting salary would be $39,523, which is 65% of my salary.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to allow auditor to hire a clerk, Jackie Hembry,
Jackie Hembry.
$39,523.
And I second it.
And we have a motion by Crouch and a second by Benton to approve the hire of the auditor's clerk. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I have one. Maybe we could get her to bring the accounts payable into the room.
Yeah.
She might.
Yeah.
If you ask
Might,
her.
you know?
Yeah, I know.
It would be nice.
I'll,
Yes.
I'll work
So-
on that.
Any questions we have, we've got it right there.
Yeah, you don't have to go seek them out. Oh, do you guys voted and everything?
No.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, we got a few minutes here, I guess. I happen to have the applications that you guys took for the vacancy on the Planning and Zoning Commission. We have 2 applicants. I'm sending a copy of their application forms for each one of you. And I'd like you to look them over. Obviously, we've got to figure out a way so that you guys can interview them. I would assume probably by phone or Skype
YouTube meeting or
or YouTubing any. So we'll work
Who
out
are the
those.
2 that are leaving?
No. One is gone. Decided not to. Because of her job. I think it's Sandy.
Sandy Mass.
Sandy Mass, I
Oh,
believe. Yeah.
okay.
So these 2 are the applicants that have requested.
For her position?
Mhm.
Okay.
So I think, like I said, we'll get something figured out with Patrick because I know they want to get someone on board before their potential hearing on the 17th of April. I think they have a hearing and they're looking at their options for videoing or same similar type option that we have,
They could just
or
probably call
Zoom
into a
or
conference
something.
line or
Yeah, conference line or something.
like you did
so
with
that-
those guys.
Yeah, something to that effect.
Unless you
so-
want to see them.
I don't know that they do. So, just for you guys to look over and read and save, and then we can put on the agenda to determine, or we can get a hold of them, I guess, and see what is most convenient for them via.
Is it
Phone
pronounced
calling.
Larson or Lorson?
Lorson.
Lorson,
Lor.
Lorson.
And then Fry.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody give me any, or?
Oh, this is Scott that works for me. It's Keith Johnson's daughter.
Oh, okay.
John Lorson lives in.
John,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
John's
I
the
know.
banker.
Yep, I
and-
know him
okay.
from
And I'm in.
Chamber and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is, okay. That tells me a lot right there.
Okay, well, I guess we're kind of ahead of schedule. I don't know if we want to bring
Bring him up.
Larry up to, and, oops, sorry.
Don't trip.
And, Julie. I believe Julie's here too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you were here.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Ready? Yep. Okay, our next order of business is Larry Hurst, E911 Director, and we have a few representatives from Public Health discussing the 2020 Joint Disaster Declaration of the COVID-19. Go ahead, Larry.
In front of you, I think you were given a copy to review already. This is a kind of a joint declaration for public health, emergency management, disaster emergency. The governor had already declared disaster weeks ago, as they typically do, to open up resources, state resources, and to the local counties affected, which all 99 counties are. And for completeness of paperwork, I like to basically get the local authorities to declare, to recognize that situation, and it all has to do with accountability and some reporting and eligibility for being compliant with the state and other things. So this declaration is part of that. So that's kind of what we've done. We researched the basic format that we want to go here. We're basically referencing the timeline here when this all started, identified here locally and regionally, and that's kind of what you're seeing here on the declaration as you read down. And basically today, this is kind of a joint declaration of the Board of Supervisors and the Emergency Management Commission. The chair, Supervisor Crouch, of the commission basically is representing the cities. So we're kind of capturing in a way indirectly the cities in this declaration also today. So ensure that they are basically asking for resources too as needed. And since this is a public health and emergency management joint effort, an emergency here, it was advocated that both Julie as Administrator of Public Health and I co-sign recognizing this declaration if you so approve it. And I think Carol's...
You have the original. I think I gave them.
We don't need to read this, do we?
No, we don't have to read it.
And this is about a 4-page resolution for those of you listening.
We're not at the resolution yet. We're doing on the declaration right now.
Yeah.
First.
There's 2 pages to it. It's the front and back right here. There you go.
Yeah, that
That's
one.
it.
Okay. This is also a 2-page document. There's a declaration for the public health disaster emergency. If anybody listening needs a copy of that, we can get you one, get a hold of the auditor's office or one of the supervisors.
We'll post it on our website and social
Sure.
media.
Yeah, it'll be posted also. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do we have any discussion on this, or otherwise I'd entertain a motion?
And of course, this, I know this changes daily, this changes hourly. Is there anything that we need to always add? I mean, is there always,
No, this is
Once
just a
it's just a-
declaration. This is
okay.
a declaration basically acknowledging, saying to the state of Iowa that we're declaring disaster here officially.
Got it.
And the governor just had preempted us basically.
Okay.
And by her declaring it early on, which is, again, the right thing to do.
Right.
Because even before we could react, we had a speed of onset of a health emergency disaster. So,
thank you.
so do you have those 2 I gave you yesterday? I have 2 here that are just like originals, but I want to get 2 signed by all, so I leave one with the auditor, and then I have one that we can post and send to the state also.
I'll get a copy of it on file.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how we'll process it once you take formal action, okay?
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the declaration of the COVID-19.
Second.
We have a motion by Vinton and a second by Crouch to approve the 2020 Joint Disaster Declaration of COVID-19. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Julie, I think.
Carol. Go ahead. No, I don't sign it.
I do.
We
But
don't
you
have to
can sign it and I'll sign it for you. I attest.
You attest. Oh, gee.
I attest.
Those are just two on them.
Because we only need the one for your
Oh, you
record
are-
here and one I need so I can load up.
No, I've got two supervisors. Why didn't three sign?
Just because it's not a resolution, it's a declaration.
Richard's
It only
signing
takes-
on behalf of the emergency
Richard's
management.
signing on behalf of Emergency Management Commission representing the city.
Oh, okay, I'm with you. Okay, that makes sense.
She'll test them and then see on that.
I know.
If I could touch that piece of paper. It's weird that I'm thinking about this.
Just put sanitizer on. Do it again. Yeah, might as well. I'm gonna get it back.
Okay, our next item on the agenda would be Resolution 2013 to amend the personnel policy to accommodate COVID-19. Anybody like to give us a quick brief on that?
I can do that. We have been monitoring some of the things that some of the other counties are putting into place, and some of our biggest concerns, as were for everybody else. And I worked with Ehlers and Cooney on this part. As far as our employees, how do we pay our employees if certain things come up within this coronavirus, if we're, have to work at home, what things are acceptable. So we're following the federal guidelines and giving, and which outlines those on the back. So this just basically has also stated that the board is working on the fact of, because we're conducting public meetings in the Mills County electronically to help minimize the community spread. The policies, the policies of the department heads in consulting with the IT director, who could work at home if they needed to, what different operations are being done in different offices. And basically, the county is adopting this policy per the attached, and they will remain in effect until either a further action is taken by the Board of Supervisors or the state emergency declaration is canceled. So that's kind of it in a small nutshell. And it discusses the declaration and what have you. So that's the resolution.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve or disapprove Resolution 2013.
I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2013. Do I have to list it, or are we okay with it? Amend the personnel policy, right, to accommodate coronavirus
Yes.
19.
And I second it.
We have a motion by Crouch and a second by Vinton. Is there any discussion?
Let's hope we don't have to do this again with
Right.
anything.
We'll get through
We
it.
need a year off.
Amen to that.
Since it's a resolution, I'm requesting a roll call vote. Mayberry,
Yes.
Crouch,
Yes.
Benton.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Motion carried.
Here's the original that needs to be signed by all.
All three of us?
Mm-hmm.
You want
Please.
one?
Wait. Just one. I can make copies.
Paper is the worst thing you can handle. You know that? Paper and money.
I think Richard thinks you have cooties.
I think so too.
I mean, we all should have the cleanest hands there is in the county.
Here, don't touch that.
I'm
Once you
not
get
going to.
paid.
Well, thank you guys. Any updates?
How we doing on childcare? Get anything on that yesterday for like One with Life? Get that kind of helped out, or?
She's next.
Lori
worked on that.
Yeah, I worked
do
on
have some
that.
stuff
I
we have
made
on
a call to the child care resource and referral people and also the DHS state people to see what we could work out. I also reached out to Kids Place and to a couple other daycares in the area. Kids Place does have some openings right now, so I'm going to refer the On With Life people to them and also get them hooked up with the child care resource and referral people.
Good,
And
good.
they can see if they can help out. There is a lot of essential personnel out there that are looking for daycare though,
I'm sure.
so, yeah.
So Lori, explain to me, how does Kids Place stay open? Do they only put 10 kids in a room?
Yes.
They put 10, okay.
Yeah, 10 kids to a room and they have multiple rooms for different ages.
So they can spread them out.
Yeah.
And then the rooms don't commingle, so you stay in your room,
Or
you don't
accessory
mix
beds.
with other rooms. So they're keeping in within that 10-person cap.
Okay.
So, we're also doing a lot of work within the community. We've got the stay-at-home except for essential needs document that we've pushed out on our website and on our Facebook. We're trying to keep the community well advised of what offices are open, what facilities are closed, how we can put social distancing into practice, how we can be compliant with it. We are also doing a lot of outreach to our most vulnerable population, those over 60 or those with underlying health conditions, and we are making all accommodations that we can to help them stay at home and not go out in public. We are offering to that entire population, we will pick up your groceries, we will drop them off at your door. We have all of our pharmacies in town who will deliver medications, so everything we can do to just be really compliant with that and do as much self-isolation as we can is really a priority push for us out in the public. We want to be in 100% compliance with what the governor and the Iowa Department of Public Health is asking from us. So we're asking everybody to check in on their neighbors. Let's have a lot of communication through the phone and social media and FaceTiming. Make sure that we're checking in with our most vulnerable population. We're also putting a lot of heavy messaging out to our not most vulnerable population because we do have a segment of our county who does not believe that they're affected by this, or if they do get it, they won't be substantially ill, and we're trying to message to them right now. As of yesterday, we had 105 positive cases in Iowa. That doubled in about 2 days. So we are looking for this week in particular to see a rise in the number of cases. We have a lot of people who are isolated at home because they're symptomatic. We're having regular contact with our health providers and other community partners. We're working closely with Larry to make sure that we have the personal protective equipment that we need for our first responders and healthcare providers.
How are we doing on masks and?
That's a big issue right now. We have had an order into the state here, which I have to go in and edit. Last night they said I have to readdress some things and break them out separately. They focus on what we can ask for, and I think the state is trying to outfit the hospitals. They're triaging it based on where the epicenters are, I think, as they deliver. They're telling us to tailor down our request to 7-day needs, which is tough to target right now, but says we have to protect public health workers, we have to protect our nonprofits, we have to protect our first responders, and they need kits because they don't know when they're going to go into a house, what they're going to see. Now, we do have a triage in the comm center that we're asking questions that Iowa Department of Public Health asks us to put in to our, our question bank. which we are doing that now. We've created a call type in our comm center for COVID-19. So in other words, I can easily survey calls that we're getting and basically look at those, and I see something identifying, and I can pass it on to public health so they can further investigate. So we're doing that now. A lot of the EMS services in the county, or all of them, are actually has a protocol in place that they are one enter, masked up, the size up before the others to get an idea of what's going on or whatever, so we can further protect our first responders and also properly serve the public and administer either care there or just triage and then or transport. You know, some people will not need to be transported, but they'll need to call their doctor for a triage over the phone. It may be, say they are coughing and have a elevated temp, but they're not in respiratory distress. If they're in respiratory distress, then that's an advanced life support call, and we will be transporting them. So that's the threshold. So, but we want to err on the side of safety here, and so there may be some people that are transported. And those are some of the things in place. And we talked to several of our EMS leadership and leadership from the county, and when they go en route with someone that has symptoms, they would notify the hospital en route, and then the hospital will make a decision whether they're going to take them there or move them to another hospital that's more capable, such as Nebraska Medical Center, Creightonburg Mercy, and some of those that are set up. All right, so that's kind of what's going on with that.
One more just quick issue I'd like to visit is the matter of testing. So we're having a lot of issues around testing, who can get testing. Here's what's happening. We had a person approved to get the test on Saturday. Well, they had symptoms on Saturday. They went in, they got approved for testing. They were tested on Monday. They were told in Pot County that they would get results in 10 days. They're already 3 days into symptoms. We're going to wait 10 days for results. So here's what we know. This is what you need to do. You need to stay home and isolate.
Assume you have it.
That's the solution if you're not feeling well. The solution is not to go on this hunt for testing. The solution is stay at home, isolate yourself until you are 7 days past the onset of symptoms.
Sure.
You no longer have a fever, and there's one other one.
Your signs and symptoms are improving.
Yes, and once you've met those 3 benchmarks, then you're not under quarantine anymore. So we would like to push out less focus on testing because the turnaround time makes it irrelevant, and we want to really push out into the community the importance of noticing your health, how you're feeling, and that it can change, and to take appropriate action immediately.
And if you have symptoms and if you are self-isolating, you have to remember that your close contacts also need to isolate, and they have to isolate for 14 days.
So once they get tested, 10 days is the max you have to wait?
We were told yesterday that we would get
It's
test
gonna now be
results
10 days.
7 to 10 days. And in the so really the solution you see is when you're symptomatic, go home, stay home,
Just put it on
treat
2
the
weeks.
symptoms and
Right.
wait it out. And unless your symptoms are not manageable at home, then call your physician and get direction from there.
Julie, on another note, which was in reference to delivering and things like that, I did see where the storehouse put out an issue of things that they are needed, because I believe, aren't they assisting with some of the food things for them?
They have made very magnanimous offers, and they are doing everything they can to help people stay at home. And we have partnered with them to offer volunteers. So we have a number of volunteers who will go twice a week and pick up their grocery orders. We have a volunteer set up to be a runner, and I don't know if that's in place yet, but our goal was that we would have, so it would be curbside service. I know that the storehouse is completely closed to the public, and even if you're getting food pantry orders, we're trying to do curbside service.
But it sounds like they are in need of some things. I did see their listing out there. So do we have that list on our website too? Do you know?
It was posted on their website,
Okay.
on their Facebook page.
We could probably capture that.
We probably should, just so if anybody else is.
Larry, I don't know, I can do some entering on this. Like if you call the comm center, they will ask you, they have a questionnaire they go through. If you call in 911, they go through a list of questions that,
Have you been out of the state, that type
No,
of thing?
fever, how do you feel, so on. And my sister also, and I talked to her Sunday night about ambulance service, and she says they gown one person, they get called, they go to the door, they ask kind of the same questions, because they don't want to contaminate the whole unit.
Sure.
I mean, if they have to transport, fine, but she says then they get back and it's almost 3 hours of work to clean the ambulance. And you gotta
Sterilize it all.
You know, you gotta be safe. And she says it's just so we're actually pushing. You know, if you can get somebody to take you, you know,
Sure.
it's not a protocol, but she says it just takes so much time, and it's got to be done. So,
But again,
And they're volunteers.
yeah.
right.
So, and one other comment on the resource thing, we're going everywhere. Julie is, as the health administrator, Julie's department is actively pursuing resources. We're tapping the state for resources. We have resources on order from the West Coast, and some of those have been gotten preempted by the federal government or someone. They've been kind of taken or redirected somewhere else. So it makes it hard for us. And so we've had some donations here. I think the last couple of days we did get some donations in, and we're pushing those out today for demands. We have demands now from we're building kits for our first responders, so they have in their ambulances and fire trucks to give them some basic protection. We've also had some requests from our nonprofits in the Mills County here that we're trying to support with, masks and nitrile gloves, things like that, gowns, as we get them in. But a lot of demand and not a lot of supply yet. And so even at our county, we have needs. And so that's why I'm trying to communicate to the state Homeland Security that we're not a hospital, we don't have a hospital, but we have needs here to protect our first responders and also protect our citizens. So we're pushing pretty hard on it, but we're also being very, very resourceful in bringing stuff in. I do have a lot of hand sanitizer that's going to be shipped out in the morning from eastern Iowa. It's in gallon lots that we bought. It should be here in a day probably. And once we get that, we're going to try and distribute that and repackage that in smaller containers and get some of that out too in various government or clinics and places of need. And we'll continue to order that. It's a good price. It's about the price we pay for hand sanitizer now, maybe 1 or 2 cents per ounce more, but that's a good
You
price.
got it. Right.
It's a good price. So it is inbound. This notice I gave you today will be posting on our website, social media, and public health. This is a press release on public assistance briefings. This is part of the federal declaration for public assistance for Category B, emergency protection only, cost recovery. And this is be going out. There is some webinars. There's one today at 1, and then there's one Thursday and Friday at 1 o'clock on Thursday and 9 o'clock on Friday. This is a requirement for eligible parties that are going to apply. And this would be everybody from governmental entities to nonprofits would be eligible. There is some, we're going to post some other information of other eligible parties because it could include churches and things like that could apply. And there is a process. They want you to go through this briefing, which is a requirement by the federal government, and then there'll be some links that we'll provide to get into a website to sign up. If you don't have an account, which most county and city departments already have accounts, then you'll basically go through a process, an easy process to sign up and get an account, and that's how you'll make your application for reimbursable expenses dealing with this response.
Got it.
One other thing, we had a query today on the state's Emergency Operations Center website. Department of Human Services had gotten calls from some residents in Fremont and Mills County and about their concern in Missouri River flooding. What are we going to do about shelters? And so we had a quick discussion this morning because this just came out this morning, and we're going to put some information out on this, advising the public that our risk is lower this year of flooding. There's a lot of aggressive work being done by the levee drainage districts with the Corps and FEMA collaborating, and so we're making good strides with that. So I think our biggest levee, South Placid Bridge, the Pot County M&P, is up to pre-flood levels now of 19, and the lower two are being worked on aggressively. So I think consider we have low risk. Plus our demographic has changed.
Right.
West of 29, we do not have the population base. We kind of know where everybody is out there, and if we did have to evacuate, we could still probably set up a shelter, collaboration with the Red Cross, but we would use a very social distancing formula, you might say, to do that. And we would work with other subject matter experts to see how we would do it. So I think we're low risk right now, and that's my message to the public.
Well, there's a little good news there this morning.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
You're not dismissed yet.
Keep up the good work, girls. Thank you.
What do you got, Nita?
Thanks for having me up. As you know, we are always trying to find ways for my office to be more efficient. Right now we're using Case Management Pro Law that was created for really private law firms. We are proposing to move our case management to a new program. It's called Prosecutor by Carpel. We would be the pilot project in Iowa, the first county in the entire state to roll out this program. We've been working with the Iowa County Attorney Case Management Program through ISAC to make sure that our cost is a lot less than if we had gotten on the tail end of this. We did, if you remember from our budget meeting, we did have a cushion in our case management software budget line item so that we could start rolling into this case management right before the end of the fiscal. And we hope to be fully operational by the beginning of next fiscal. With that said, I have an agreement today to get the project rolling. We believe that over time this will be a cost savings of approximately $3,500 a year. The initial cost is a little more expensive. The reason is because we are the first in the state. Also, we are, they're gonna have to roll over some of our information. They're gonna have to create the entire template from scratch. They do have other counties in the nation who have gone to this software, other prosecutors' offices, and they say it just works so swell. It's faster, a lot of automated things like victim notices, discovery. Basically right now what we have to do is have a secure way of giving defense counsel all of the evidence. And what we usually do is we buy a $10 zip drive, make them reimburse us for the $10 zip drive. When in this new program, we're going to be able to have them go to a secured link, click on that link. We can give them whatever documents are basically already redacted, secured. They can look at all of the evidence online, download it from that online link, and we don't have to do any transfer of physical evidence. So this is going to save us a lot of time in my office. It's going to save my assistants contacting victims regularly, typing out notices, because the notices will be generated automatically. We'll continue always to meet with our victims, of course, but at least this will make sure that there's a system where they're always getting notified without even any human effort. Basically, the computer will do it all for us. And the discovery is a huge issue because right now, sometimes we're getting requests 3 or 4 times for the same discovery when defense counsel changes or when they misplace it. So this will tell us exactly when it's sent out and exactly when they've accessed it, exactly when they've downloaded it. It's really going to save us a lot of time in our office. And the cost really is, at the beginning, is going to be a little higher. We've worked that into our budget already. But to be saving money and having such a better system designed for prosecutors, it's really ideal for us. And I think you'll see over time that it saves the county a lot of money as well.
How much does it cost?
Initially, we're working with ISAC and the Iowa County Attorney Case Management Project to reduce the cost for us to $30,000 total, and they have told us that they can spread that up to 10 years down the road. We prefer to get that cost taken care of as quickly as possible with both what we budget for case management and also through our own collections funds to try to take care of that right away and see the cost savings, pretty quickly. Our goal is to try to take care of that $30,000 bill within 2 years, so that the $3,500 approximately dollars in cost savings is seen pretty quickly, and we don't have to drag it on through multiple years and change of leaders and that kind of thing.
But it doesn't mean you need anything special on your laptop or to adapt this program.
No, it's all
good.
web-based. So as long as we
Good.
have an internet connection, we can access the new system.
Okay.
Right now, what we do is Patrick has to maintain our own server for ProLaw, and not every county in the state does that. But if you want any kind of speed or efficiency with the program, you have to maintain it on your own server. So that means Patrick's maintaining the server, he's securing it, and replacing it when necessary. And I understand, Patrick, that those need to be replaced every 5 years.
3 to 5 years for a server, and then software maintenance, annual maintenance. So, yep.
And how much are those servers?
It's hard to put an exact cost on it. I mean, because it's part of a larger virtual system, but it's it's easily probably $1,500 to $2,000 a year that we devote just to power and software and space just for that one program.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They'll maintain the servers, the web-based servers that we will have access to, but we won't have to pay any maintenance for those servers, any security. They're already secure. They've got their firewalls, and there's no reason to think that those would be penetratable. They'd just be just like how Patrick maintains ours, just on a wider scale. The goal is that prosecutors across the state would get this software so that we can communicate with each other even through the software. I have a defendant here. I want to know who else has this same defendant on charges. And the goal will be, and the software is capable of sharing data between counties so that we have the fullest picture of this person's current criminal activity that we could possibly get. And I think it's really exciting that we get to be the ones to roll it out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So this is the agreement.
Okay.
This will get the ball rolling. We will have a subsequent agreement with dollar amounts, but this just says we're interested, we're ready to roll, start working on it.
Well, and you said Isaac is behind it, so that's on.
Yes, Isaac they've been looking to move from ProLaw for a while now, and I think the general consensus is we have a hard time getting techs to respond. So at one point they had 2 techs, and they promised to double the number of techs for the entire state. I think there's 30-some counties who are using ProLaw, so that means there's 4 techs now dedicated to 30-some counties. This program will have 24 hours assistance, online assistance that you can call in and get basically immediate responses to any problems that you run into with the software itself. So I'm really excited. I think this is a great opportunity. I think it shows how willing we are to adjust with the changing times and adjust with the technology that's out there,
Right.
and adopt that technology for our benefit.
What do you think, guys?
You know what? I don't know what this county would do without our Nada. We are so proud of her. So if this is what we can do for her to make her workload bigger, badder, faster,
Make them bigger. Help your
I make a motion. Let's go for it.
Okay,
Thanks, Carol.
We've got a motion
Oh, I suppose I could second it.
and a second by Crouch. Is there any further discussion?
It'll make her sweat a little bit. Is that what they do? They put you in the box?
They do. They do.
Look at you like, are you going to answer that?
Well, you better hope you never have to get in that box where she's
Yeah, I hope you're not going to be
I
on
have
that.
a female lawyer.
program.
No.
Who's supposed to just chair?
Very proud of
Yeah,
you, Nada.
okay.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
So is this going to take you a while to get this, or what's your next step now?
The next step is we are going to basically have both programs working at the same time so that we can manually enter the cases from ProLaw that we'll need to carry on with the prosecutor program. The prosecutor by Carpel is the name of the program.
Okay.
They said cartel.
By Carpel. Carpel is the
Cartel.
company.
Okay.
So we'll spend some time right now just getting the program
I think
up
she'd
and
make a
running.
great presenter at Isaac.
Oh,
Well, if the program
You are
works,
so
we will
right.
speak for, we will advocate for all the other county attorneys' offices changing to this program. I have no doubt that it will work. It's worked in other states before. But right now, we'll just have to move the data from our old program to our new program. And then we can get fully functional.
Who needs to initial all of those? Is that Patrick or who initials? There's some, every page has a place for an initial. I didn't say down the bottom. So, but Patrick, because he's administrator, I don't know. Or does Lonnie need to do it?
What's that?
Well, there's a place down at the bottom where it asks for an initial, but I don't know whose initials they want.
I'll send them this copy. First, we send it
There's
to
no
the Iowa
link
County
pages for
Attorney
you, is there, Lonnie?
Not that I'm aware of.
Case Management. And if they send it back for initials, I'll bring it back up.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you guys for everything.
Thank you, Nada.
You're gonna get Fremont County to do it too. He's calling.
You mowing?
Do we hear a lawnmower?
Yeah, Mike's mowing.
Huh?
Mike's mowing.
What's he mowing?
Bud? Okay, well, that's good.
Wow.
I'm gonna get started on it, you know. Okay.
I came back from flood recovery.
Okay. Sure. We'll allow you back.
Yeah,
Did you bring
yeah,
coffee
yeah.
from across the street for everyone?
unmuted.
Okay.
Okay, our next order of business is the CDBG payment for number 48 to the University of Iowa and the Sydney Argus Herald. This is for our East and West Nishnabotna watershed projects.
I make a motion to pay the CDBG payment number 48.
Second.
We have a motion by Benton, second by Crouch to approve the payment number 48. Is there any other discussion?
Well, just the only discussion that I'm offering here is this, we're approving this to go back to MAPPA, then they will put it into the system and then request the funding to come down. And then since we have to do it this way, then once the funds come down, then we will actually pay
Right.
these bills. So that's,
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Can I sign these anywhere, Carol? Claimants?
yes, yeah, on your line.
Okay.
You don't have to touch it.
No, late 15 minutes. Okay, our next,
I thought maybe he'd go on.
yeah.
Talented, yeah.
The next order of business is to discuss the flood recovery fund projects.
And I put this on here just because I got an
Sure.
email from Terry Brown, just reminding us to, stay on top, keep looking at things. And I think Corey was proactive with what I've followed, and he sent some info. But that's kind of basically, why it's on there.
Okay. I have nothing to add to that at this time. I'm sure we will, though, here in the future. Anyone else? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.